Okay, let's call the Long Beach Water Department Advisory Committee meeting to order. January 24th. Note on the agenda, no meeting in December 2021 due to holiday schedule. So first item is approval of the November 2021 meeting minutes. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Rick Remages makes the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second, Laurel.
I second it.
Okay. Any discussion on the November meeting minutes? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So all in favor, unanimous. So approval of the November and December 2021 financials.
I make a motion to approve, Laurel.
Any second?
Seconded.
Rick Remages, second. Discussion on the financials.
The only thing, I had Lynn print or email me the entire general ledger for the year 2021, and I am reviewing it, and there are a few journal entries that need to be made, but I will get with Helen and Bill, and we'll get those made, and nothing, it just needs to be reclassed, things that were expense to the balance sheet that should not have been. So far, not done yet.
Okay, so some cleanup items.
Yeah,
Any other comments on the financials? All in favor? Aye.
aye, Laurel.
Any opposed? No. So it is unanimous. All in favor.
Okay, I don't see Helen here today.
No.
Okay.
I don't have contact information. Is it worth calling her, or do we need her for this particular
Well,
meeting?
I mean, she should be here. Last meeting, she wasn't here, and she did email me to my business email, which I didn't get until I got back to the office. So I don't know if she sent something or not.
I didn't get anything, Laurel.
Okay.
Do you want Rick to call her? Rick Remages?
I don't have her phone number. That's
I do.
somebody. If
I think
somebody
I
wants
do.
to give her a ring,
I will. I will.
that'd be great. Why not?
Mary Lou, that would be great. Thank you. And while you're working on that, I see you're muted. That's good. Why don't we go ahead with the water report? Greg Parrish.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning, Greg.
Water samples been taken and all good with those this month and last month. February, we start our quarterly stage 2 disinfectants for the year. Meters were read this month and last month. We had to make a couple of repairs last month on a couple meters, and we also have a couple of meters that didn't read this month. We'll be getting those repaired. We've been working with Lynn on self-identifying homes that have irrigation systems to create a list for notification of our new policy on backflows. As backflow reports come in, we will also use this information for compliance. We'll talk about that more in new business. We had one freeze up so far this year. Hopefully it stays that way. It's supposed to get real cold this week with negative numbers. Residents that have experienced problems in the past need to take precautions. Other than that, it's been quiet as far as field work goes. Also, we adjusted our tank levels, set points, to have the tank and pumps cycle more. That helps from having ice form inside the tank. Ice can damage the interior of the tank and cause it to have leaks. So hopefully we got those set and it functions enough to where we don't form ice. I also met with Kellen from EJP on our inserter valves we have that we are going to install on Lakeshore Drive. We'll be scheduling those when weather breaks this spring. I also have been looking at ordering the stores fittings for the hydrants. We will order 30 of those this year and get those installed. Both items I just mentioned are in this year's budget. That's all I have to report on. Anybody have any questions on anything?
Any questions for Greg? Okay, it looks like, Laurel, did you have any questions? I look like you were, but
I do have questions, but I see a new business that we're talking about, the,
Backflows.
yeah, thank you. I don't see it on here.
so first item, backflow preventer inspection. I guess that was listed there.
Okay, so I'll ask my questions later then.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you very much.
Okay.
We'll move on to old business. First item listed is 2022 Water Department budget. Laurel.
Greg and Helen and Austin and myself worked on the budget, but we also decided to make it more meaningful that we were to open up new accounts, and then Helen was going to put the budget into it. To my knowledge, at least the last time I talked with her, she has not gotten that done. She needs to work with Bill, she said. However, I know that she's been real busy with town stuff, so that's why I was hoping she'd be on the meeting this morning to ask her about that. So that's where I'm at with it. We do have a budget. However, we were going to make it read easier and define expenses better, but I haven't seen that yet.
I did get a hold of her and she said she forgot, so she's supposed to be trying to log in.
So why don't we hold a couple thoughts then until login occurs.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else on the budget?
Here's Helen now. I just admitted her.
Right. Thanks. Hi, Helen, are you there? Oh, she's muted. Just one second. Okay, I asked her to unmute herself. Hello, Helen, are you there? Okay, let's give her a moment. Looks like she might be unmuted now.
I'm here.
Hi there, Helen. This is Rick Blank, and we were discussing under old business the 2022 Water Department budget. And Laurel was speaking to that. And Laurel, why don't you take back over where you left off?
Okay, as I said, we do have the budget completed. However, Helen was going to open up new general ledger accounts so that we could put it in a more meaningful format. As of right now, I don't know if that's been done or not. So Helen, can you advise us?
I have to open up those accounts with Bill, and I haven't been trained on how to open those up. And I believe that Bill is the one who is responsible for inputting this stuff and controlling the general ledger. So I don't feel comfortable just going in and trying to access stuff that I haven't been trained in. I haven't even been trained in how to do journal entries in Civic System. So until I get some direction from Bill, and he's working on that, we're on hold because the water department is a function underneath him now, and he's responsible for how that general ledger is structured.
Okay, Helen, then did you want me to talk with Bill, or have you been talking to him about this?
No,
Because
he's aware.
It is a priority.
He's aware of it. It's a priority. I'll talk to him about it, but he's had numerous other issues, and there were changes, I believe, in the fund account to occur. So it's yeah.
Okay, Helen just muted, so it sounds like what I'm hearing is that she has been talking to Bill about it, and he's had other priorities. They haven't been able to get to that. So I guess until Bill frees up, that's where we are. Although I would say, Laurel, if you happen to be in the office, may not hurt to talk to Bill.
Right, okay.
Don't our auditors and accounting advisors have some input or responsibility here? It would seem that someone should be able to advise the town council and the water board as to what subcategories are typical, and I don't know. It doesn't seem like it should be as complicated as it is, and I'm not sure that that this is a strength with Bill. Sure.
Actually, what we're wanting to set up, is we're not reinventing the wheel. I'll get with Bill and talk with him and, see if we can't move that along, so that we can show our budget in our next financials for January.
So let me ask you a question, Laura.
Thanks, Laura.
It seems like there's two steps here. One is deciding what those new general ledger accounts will be.
Well, we've done that already.
Okay, and then it's just the mechanics then of setting those up in Civic.
Correct.
Okay, so that's where we are. We're at the mechanic part. Is that right?
Yes. And actually, I know last year when we put the budgets in that Bill worked with Lynn, and he
All right,
he forwarded the budgets like we do. You can take last year's, put it in this year's, and then make your changes.
Right.
And I know that Lynn had done that. So I'll get with Bill and talk with him and see what we can come up with.
It sounds like it's going to happen here, relatively soon. What it sounds like more is Bill's plate is maybe a little full right now, just needs to get to it. So.
Right. And probably when we first started this last summer, probably wasn't.
Are
you talking to me?
Yeah.
About what?
Ellen, I don't know if you're aware, but we're hearing some background noise coming from you.
She just muted herself, so I think we're good there. Okay. Thank you, Laurel. Let's move on to these.
I have not been I've been involved very little in the year end. I've been in other stuff, catching up on things. And now the person to for guidance is Bill, because he's boss of all of us.
Okay. Well, Thank you very much, Helen. Appreciate that update. And the second item under old business is update regarding open position for Water Advisory Committee. Somehow that's me. I have no update. I really don't have.
Rick, Dr. LeMay in one of the town council meetings, I think it was December. And so then because we have quite a people or maybe it was early January, that their terms have come to an end in other committees. So probably about 2 weeks ago, he had Meg Collins post on the website if people have an interest.
Okay.
And so I would imagine that he's going to give the council a list before the February meeting, and so we can see who might be interested in participating in our committee.
And Rick, while I've got you, are you willing to re-up for another term?
Is my term up already?
That's what I can't look at it, but I think that was the case.
Don't tell him that, Bob. Then he has to stay.
I figured I'd ask in front of everybody so he'd be pressured to say yes.
I'm willing to still stay on.
Okay. I will transmit that to the council.
Okay, thank you. I may be traveling here and there, but obviously in this format, it's pretty easy to take care of that distance problem. So, okay. So maybe I was just going to say, maybe for that, it seems like it's in the hands of the council now. I would say maybe, Lynn, for our next meeting is maybe put Mary Lou as far as an update on that item, since it's going to be funneling the council.
I will do that.
Next item is small claims for customer, and that's Mary Lou.
I did email, as soon as Lynn sent that out, I emailed the attorney and haven't heard anything. So when I do, I'll let you guys know.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. And the next item then would be payment received in full for vacant lot with TAP. Lynn.
We talked about this in our November meeting, and Mary Lou had called the customer and said, please pay us, and he had not yet, but he did pay in full so that we didn't have to proceed any further with collections or anything. So he is now on ACH for his vacant lot, all resolved.
Wow, that's very impressive, Mary Lou. You seem to have a knack for this.
I don't know, but I'm just happy he did.
Yeah.
We've normally, when Laurel and I had to get involved about, I guess it's 2 years ago now, there were a lot of huge amounts, and we just called people and said, hey, we can't live with this. Even if they weren't getting water, some people just let their account get way up and they don't even get water because no one lives there. So they all paid. We even made them pay from the grave, didn't we, Laurel?
Sure. I would say that the missing piece is that I don't have any muscle behind my request, because when I call, they just go, Secretary from the Water Department wants some money. What do you think we should do about that? And then when Mary Lou called, she's on the town council. But
I don't tell them that. Yeah.
Well, they know that.
Okay. Well, good.
Mary Lou also goes on the police line and informs them that this call is being recorded.
Right.
Well, I accidentally did that when I first was in the water department, not knowing. I just picked up the phone. So then when they have caller ID, it looks like Long Beach Police is calling them. So they paid pretty quickly. But I didn't know that, my hidden weapon.
Nicely done.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any other old business? Moving to new business. Cross-connection control policy, ordinance, backflow preventer inspections. Greg.
Okay, has everybody seen this, board members? Okay. So what we're wanting to do is for all the customers of Long Beach Water, that use Long Beach water, and have irrigation systems or pool auto fill devices, we are now required to submit an annual backflow preventer inspection report done by an Indiana certified backflow tester. We have to do this to stay in compliance with IDEM. Also, it's just a good practice anyway. We should have been doing this years ago, and I know it's been talked about in the past, but we really need to get this going and get it in place. So the only question that I have with what we've kind of got, Lynn's worked on this quite a bit too, so she's been doing a real good job with it, is we need to come up with, if you're non-compliant, what do we want to charge? I believe that we should have some teeth in this ordinance, or if it's or a policy, whichever it has to be. I'm not sure if we get to do a policy or if it has to be an ordinance. Is another question I wasn't sure about. But I just feel that we should, when somebody is not compliant, we should be able to charge them a pretty good amount of money just so we can keep everything in line. Does anybody have any questions about this? Or
Greg, do we know if, do we have a point of reference, just to get a ballpark idea? Because I agree with you. If you don't put any teeth in it, what's the big deal? They won't comply.
right.
And so I wondered, does Michigan City do this, or do we know?
Michigan City's in the process.
Okay.
I talked to Chris, they're the water superintendent there, and everybody's going to have to do it. So we're small, so it's not, I don't think it's going to be that much of an effort to get this taken care of. I was thinking more like, $300 if you're running your irrigation without a backflow preventer report. I don't know if this has to go to the town attorney. Maybe he can suggest something or whatever. But
do you know of any other? Because I would be happy to call. Do you know of anybody else that's getting or might have this policy?
Right off the top of my head, no. I know I talked to Dick Collins. He's a superintendent for Dillon Beach, and he is also in the starting phase of his as well.
Okay.
We did talk about it, and he's kind of in agreement with me that it needs to have some teeth in the policy in order to make it effective.
Well, why don't you let Greg and I look into that? And I was thinking, because I have some contacts, they're more town clerks, but they might know of other areas, and just to give us an idea. But I do like the idea of a penalty, because if not, we can't enforce it.
Right. Lynn, did you have any more questions on this?
Well, I wanted to begin to put on the water bill in the comments section that customers with irrigation or pool contact us ASAP kind of thing. But whether it's a policy or an ordinance, we need to at least know which it's going to have to be. Right now, what's written up and attached to the agenda items today was just a draft of the addendum to the existing policy. So what's in your attachments for this meeting is the existing policy, which the only thing I could find was something that appeared to have been 2005, but I never found the official version of it. I haven't gone through the town's list of ordinances, but I'm assuming it's not there because it seems that it was only a policy with the water department. So what's attached to your packet today is an addendum to the existing policy. But Greg has said that, it may be moot to talk about a policy or an addendum to the policy because we may need to go straight ordinance at this point, especially since we're talking about charging a larger fee, as in a significant fee. We don't have a fee currently. So if I could know that as soon as possible, so that if I start talking to people who call in, I want to know what to be able to tell them. If I say it's an ordinance, it's obviously going to be more powerful.
So
It doesn't have to be completed. I just need to know which it will be.
Rick, do you want me to check with Chris Willoughby and ask him for a recommendation?
That would be ideal because you obviously have reason to be communicating with him anyway
Yeah.
on the other matter.
Does that sound okay, Dr. LeMay?
Yeah, procedurally, ideally, if we could find a surrounding community that has an ordinance, I think if we're going to have penalties, it's going to have to be an ordinance, not a resolution. But if we could give Chris a sample, tell him how we want to modify it for our community, he should be able to come up with that pretty quick and hopefully bring it to us at our next town council meeting.
Well, let me look at the surrounding areas, and they're pretty good about responding, and then I'll work with Greg if he has any contacts. And then we can go to Chris.
Yep. I think that sounds like a plan.
All right, I'll do that.
And the addendum that's attached to your packet, that Greg and I worked on that together to cover the bases on what needs to be communicated to residents. But again, it's just an addendum format. So if Chris Boldy can also look at what needs to be in it by way of that addendum draft, that may be efficient for him then.
All right, sounds like we have a plan. Just to circle back, Laurel, were there other backflow questions you had?
Well, I had several. Number one, if people have companies that start up their irrigation and they're certified to that they can do this, is that what we need for the town? Is that?
Yes. Typically, as far as I know, most irrigation contractors should have somebody licensed to inspect.
Right.
We're gonna we have a list on our website that would have the companies that are, or people that are licensed to inspect the backflows. I want to say I think most of them, they should have somebody that can do that. They have to be registered to the state too. So,
Greg, are you registered? Are you one of them?
No, we're not.
Okay.
We had talked about it, but that's a license that it's a real hard license to get as well. So, even if we were to get it, I don't know how we would be able to. I mean, that'd be a lot of extra work for one of us to go out and inspect backflows for irrigation. I mean, that's something that it's not the water department's responsibility, it's the customer's responsibility. So there's really no need for us to get in compliance with backflows.
So Greg, this policy that I'm looking at now, I'm sorry, I haven't seen it before. It's in effect now, correct?
Yes, we have a backflow, a cross connection control policy, which is required by IDEM. All we're doing is now IDEM is asking for us to identify homes that have the backflows and to make sure that they are in compliance with IDEM. So they're using us for that tool. So the water department, we're not getting any fees for it or anything like that, other than if they weren't compliant. But this is all responsibility of the homeowner that has an irrigation system.
So maybe just in looking at this, maybe the only change that needs to be made to this policy or ordinance, whatever it is to say you need to document to the water department that you've had this inspection done every year, and it already has a penalty. The penalty is we shut your water off. That'll probably get their attention.
Yes, and that was one thing that we discussed when I had talked to Chris from Michigan City and Dick from Durham Beach. But it still seems to be, even IDEM, our field rep even recommended to put a fee in there with some teeth in it because, a lot of, because actually technically a water shut off and turn on, you're only looking at $70.
Mm-hmm.
So And then they would have to get their backflow inspected and give us a report, which is roughly, from what I was told, around $100 for an inspection. So, you know, if you don't comply and you get caught around irrigation and you know, we can fine you $300 for $400 or whatever for not complying, I think that would be a little more incentive to have people do their inspections.
Well, and we probably want to time this so that these inspections can happen at the same time that people have their irrigation systems turned on in the spring.
Yes, because they have to charge the irrigation in order to test the backflow. So yes, it's all done, you know, start up in the spring. So it's not like you have to have somebody come back or whatever. They can do it all right when they start the irrigation.
Okay,
Now,
so there's a
I
little
have a-
urgency to get this done.
Yes.
I have 2 questions. If some people may open and close their own irrigation, how are we going to police that?
We'll know if you have an irrigation. Len can look, you can go back to usage on the meters in the summer. It's pretty obvious somebody's irrigating their lawn from their usages. We're going to be able to self-identify. That's what we're working on now with Len and Austin and I. The homes that have the irrigations, we just need to make sure that if you drive by or whatever, and we see they're irrigating, it's going to be just look on a list to make sure that they send in their report.
My work list, Greg, I wanted to be more specific about that. When I went through the seasonal water usage people, my first round through was 250 customers that this will be involved. So most of them are going to have to say, yes, that's true. I do turn on my own sprinkler system and I do need to do this. So the sooner we get it on the website, the sooner I can put it on the water bill, the sooner I can say everyone in this situation needs to call us. I can point to who I believe it is because of the seasonal water usage on the meter reads.
Right.
And Greg has that first list I've done, which is 250, and I'm going to continue to go through. I went through June of last year, and I'll go through July of last year to add a few more names, people who didn't turn their sprinklers on until July because their water bill suddenly went up in July. So we have a working list. It won't be too difficult to figure out who's using a lot of water during the summer only. But they still have to, it is their responsibility, not the water department's responsibility, to be informed by us, yes, but then they need to contact a Indiana certified tester. We're going to have on the website a copy of whether it's a policy or an ordinance, so probably an ordinance that Chris Willoughby will help us with drawing up. That'll be on the website, plus a list of the contractors that's available from IDEM, and I already have a draft. I have a PDF of that. So they'll get everything they need ultimately from the website, and or we can send out 250 letters or so. We can do that. And ultimately, that would be the best thing to do if people aren't self-identifying, is to write them and say, we understand that.
And I think, Lou, with that too, we're going to send letters to all the contractors that we know that service Long Beach. That way they'll know coming out this spring that they're going to have to do an inspection on the backflow before they actually turn irrigation on.
And Greg, we'll make sure they're registered with the town too.
Yeah, we
Okay.
can do that too. Yeah, they should be registered with the town as well.
Right.
And one of the responsibilities of being registered with the town is you have to follow the town's ordinances. So
Right.
we just want to make sure we make it clear to them. The other thing is, as far as seasonal water usage, a lot of the folks who are only here in the summertime are going to use water in the summer and not in the winter. So, it probably would behoove us when we suspect that there's a property that's not identifying themselves to just stop by and take a look and see if we can see a sprinkler system.
Right. Yeah, they're pretty simple to identify.
Yeah.
So one question, so when the inspection is performed by the certified contractor, it's then going to be the customer's responsibility to get us that inspection report?
It's the customer's responsibility, but I want to say, I think some of the vendors that do that work may send that in for them. I don't, I don't know that they all do. I don't want to put that on the backs of a contractor, but I want to say, I think that most of them do. They do with our fire protections and stuff like that we have done here in town. They fill the report out, and then they send you a copy of that report. And they usually send them to the water department. But I would say it's going to be the customer's responsibility. So I don't want to say that the contractor will do it. So.
Yeah, I think it has to be clear in this ordinance that, you know, you have to have it tested and then also, you know, get the town of Long Beach the certificate.
Right.
And that's all in the addendum that's attached to your packet. So if you read the addendum, all of those points are covered.
Okay. Okay.
Also, to
anything-
get the word out to everyone, it's possible that Bill could put that on his email list,
Yes.
send out, you know, to everyone what's happening with it. Because I think we need to educate the people too, other than just the website. A lot of people probably don't even go to the website.
Laurel, I'm hoping we'll send out emails. It will be on the water bill to call us and that they'll receive letters. So
Okay.
we're planning on reaching these individuals to say, here's what needs to happen this season before you turn on your sprinkler. Greg also knows that we're not going to catch every one of them. Every single person's not going to necessarily know this year. But each year we have, for good faith, we have to show IDEM that we've made every effort to contact everyone involved.
Okay, good. Thanks.
And then also too, I think by notifying the contractors, that's going to help too, because most of the residents, I believe, have sprinkler guys turn the irrigation zone. So as long as they know going in that they're going to have to inspect this backflow, that I think a lot of that'd be that information can be out there too. So.
Okay, any other discussion regarding backflow? All right, I think we've covered it. Next item under new business is credit card payments. Lynn.
I'm only going to say a few things about this, and it's going to become more relevant in several more months. We had talked very briefly about customers that call in and ask if we accept credit cards. Usually when they do that, it's because they realize they're going to be late for a payment, and they ask me, can you take a credit card over the phone? Mary Lou had contacted Horizon Bank. Our contact person there is Karen Poff. And then I had a telephone call just to get information with Karen Poff and her credit card vendor, who is from a company called Elevon. One of the things that got discussed during that telephone conference was that before we proceed, we would certainly need to make sure that the online payment, the payment that would be potentially through a web service link, would be transferred into the Civic payment system. So when I talked with Mike Laesch, I don't know how you pronounce his last name. Does anyone else know? It's Laesch. He's the VP of Business Development and Client Relations. I talked to him and he said that if we are able and willing to wait until late spring, like late April, early May, that they will have a revised system to have it go through Civic, and that it will be a real-time payment, which is exactly what customers want when they call. They're saying, oh, you know, the bill's due today. Can I make a payment today? And if we went through Verizon Bank, it would actually not provide us with real-time payment. There would be a turnaround time. So Mike said that they already have 2 credit card vendors that they work with for this, and that a number of the utility companies do have online paperless payment, all of those things, and that we would be able to hook into that system. We would need to have web services added to our, utility billing process. But that, he said, if you're able to wait until, and I said, yes, we are able to wait. And does everyone agree with that? That there's no urgency to this. And he said that it would really be done simply and effectively with their updated program. And it sounded great to me.
Okay, thanks for that update. Next item under new business is Human Resources Committee discussion regarding Austin. Mary Lou?
I'm happy to report that the town council and the Human Resource Committee will be having an executive Zoom meeting a week from today at 2:00. And in that there's several things we're going to discuss. One is the PTO policy, the cost of that, and then also the cost of the street and water department on the improvements that the HR committee recommended. So, excuse me, we have an outside consultant, Carl Cinder, who has helped us in the past and overlooks our numbers to make sure that we're accurate. So I believe that by next Monday afternoon, we'll have a decision that we will vote on at the February town council meeting, and I'll keep you all posted about it.
Great. Thank you, Mary Lou. Okay, billing payment adjustments, and that's going to be Lynn.
Yes, okay. Also attached in your packet was the transactions that have occurred since we last met. And they're very simple this month. On the billing adjustments page, you'll see that I reversed 3 charges. And when I did that, it was based on our meeting in November when that was approved. So all the billing adjustments are just reversing the charges that we approved in the November meeting. The only payment adjustments were also completely simple. It was a customer who has 2 accounts, and when they sent me their check, they had the wrong account number on it. So I had to and so it went into, let's call it account A. Both checks went into account A, and I had to take out one of those checks and transfer it to account B. So you'll see a transfer payment from one account to the next, and that's the only payment adjustment that was made in the last 2 months. The only other thing on this list is that, frequently when customers call and say they didn't get their bill, I'm always thinking, really? Did you really not get your bill? Did you throw it away in your recycling? That kind of thing. But I got back in December, just like 2 weeks ago or maybe 10 days ago, I got back this stack of bills that USPS hadn't delivered. And I thought, well, it was probably like 15 bills at least, if not 20. And the huge majority of them were ACH payments and obviously got paid on time and no problem. But I then had to contact a few struggling customers who had, in fact, not received their bill. So it is definitely a United States Post Office thing. They're having more difficulty in general, I believe, and that sometimes that's going to affect us with having customers not get their bill. So this month there were, again, 2 customers that said, I did not get my December bill, and can we reverse the late fee? And I would like to have permission to do that for them.
Okay. So let's assume that's in the form of a motion. And I will second that motion.
So am I the person who made the motion then, or is someone else have to make it?
Let me make the motion.
Okay.
As you stated, I'll make the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it, Laurel.
Thank you, Laurel. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? So that is unanimous. Anything else under new business? Anything from the floor?
Good morning. This is Zafar Rizvi. I have a 2 question. One is an inspection required, sprinkler inspection required once a year or twice a year?
It would be once a year, every year. Yeah,
Okay.
but just once.
Okay. Since the reason I asked, because I'm doing for twice a year already. So that's why I was asking that, is it required? Because certainly in the winter, to winterize it and then, do the inspection in the summer before I start the sprinkler system. So that's why I was asking.
Oh, okay.
The second question, I think I have mentioned that in the budget committee meeting, my concern, because we have almost, water department has almost $1 million in their banks. And if we multiply this number, which we are charging right now, close to $636 per house, and roughly maybe a 1,500 house I'm just guessing, maybe give and take less and more. That's about $954,000 a year the water department is charging just for the base charges and local capital charges, apart from the water. My concern is I hear a lot of talk about the diverting those funds from the $1 million to maybe to other projects. My concern is that the water department specifically bill those dollars to the citizen for water department only. And now you have enough funds and you're continuously asking to charge more charges or other charges to add as for the citizen to make sure they continue to pay extra charges. But then you are talking about diverting those funds. I think legally you may be able to do that, but morally and ethically that would be wrong, because that's not what you told the citizen. You told the citizen that these funds we are collecting for water department or future improvements. So that's my 2 comments. Thank you.
Just one comment. What do we anticipate the cost of the Lakeshore Drive project is going to be to the water department?
Greg, do you have a good feel on that? We talked at somewhere like anywhere between 300,000 and 500,000. Is that correct, Greg?
400,000.
Yeah, that's what we were kind of projecting. We'll get more solid numbers once it goes out to bid. So until that happens, I can't really, I don't want to speculate anymore,
So maybe it wouldn't be unreasonable once we have a good handle on what that is and what kind of surplus there is in that money that was collected by the water department to make a decision as to future rates, whatever, to bring things more in line. Does that sound reasonable?
Yeah, actually, let's be clear about this. We have, this committee doesn't have control over money.
Right.
First off. Okay, so we used to have control over money. We don't any longer. So that really doesn't necessarily come before this committee.
Correct.
But just to be clear, our past has been driven by Carl Sender. This committee relied on a professional in utility accounting to guide us with regard to how much money we kept on hand, and in regard to when we would have water increases in water, say, as we would have increases in buying water from Michigan City, how did we pass along those increases to the customer? So really, just historically, that's how the Long Beach Water Board operated. We were really not the Long Beach Water Board was not the driving force on making those decisions. It was really done by Carl Sender. So I just wanted to clarify and make sure that in the past and historically people understood how we operated the water board, and now we're in a different position in that as an advisory committee, we're not actually, the committee that deals with these issues.
Right.
So it's really going to be more of the town board driving the decision on these monies, probably through the expertise of Carl Sender, who's worked with us in the past. But that's not our decision either. That would be the town board's decision as far as who they want to, rely on to feed them information on how we should move forward. So that's my comment on it.
Yeah. And again, we as a town council would appreciate your advice on what you think should be happening with those issues. You just because you aren't the final say doesn't mean we don't want to hear from you guys.
Appreciate that, but I would, I guess I don't want to speak for the whole committee, but I would say, in my opinion, I think Carl Sender should be the one to address, this matter.
Mhm.
And so that would be my initial comment and recommendation to the town council, just mine. If somebody else on this committee wants to make their recommendation too, but I would say I think that's a great place to start. We would have continuity to the past. And Carl Sender knows us, and so and I think he's very capable in his work, and so I would say that's my recommendation as far as advisory committee status here. Does any other committee member have a different thought that they'd like to share as far as where maybe we should recommend to the town council as far as what we would do here?
No, Rick, I do agree with you. I think that when we get to that point, when we know what our expenses are going to be, that we do involve Carl, and he's been very involved with the town, and he's understanding everything that's going on. So I agree with you.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Anything else from the floor? Hearing none, we'll move to approval of budgeted claims. Laurel. Laurel, you're on mute. If you could please start again.
Sorry. I came in and approved the last 2 months since we didn't have a meeting last month. So there's 2 months of claims. I reviewed them. I found them to be all in good order, except for in December, we made a duplicate payment that I had talked to Bill about, and he was going to have Helen call the company and to resolve it. So that's the only thing on here. Other than that, I found them to be in good order. So I make a motion to approve.
I'll second the motion. Any further discussion on claims? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, Laurel?
Any opposed? Okay, so all unanimous, Lynn. Anything else? The next meeting on our agenda here, next meeting is February 28th, 9 a.m. via Zoom. Before we adjourn, is there anything else to come before the advisory committee?
I just wanted to thank Greg and Austin for keeping our streets clean, along with Tom, Dolph, and Brent. I have personally witnessed the snow machine going by on a regular basis, and I think Greg's a little sleep deprived as well as Austin today, so we appreciate their extra work for sure.
Thanks, Lynn.
I agree. Thank you.
Appreciate you guys.
And I'll second and third that and fourth that.
Have we had has there been any snow in Long Beach?
Oh, stop. Where are you? Where are you?
I'm looking at the Gulf of Mexico right now
Tough life.
and the beach.
You won't be able to get back in your driveway.
We're
Yeah.
looking at the beach too when Mary Lou comes on. We see the
was gonna
lighthouse in Michigan City.
Mary Lou, I was saying, I thought I saw in the forecast there was snow, but I don't see any on the beach behind you.
Yeah, well, Greg helped me. We had probably before this snow, we probably had 10 inches, didn't we? And now it's.
Yeah, we've had every bit of it. Yeah, we've got.
Look at Rick. Look at the back. Look at Rick Remages. See, that's just floral trail or
Thank
whatever.
you.
Yeah.
Live
Just in case you're lonely.
Well, I'm happy to report I'll be back in a week. Well, maybe not so happy.
Thank you for running the
I have a question. Greg, do you know how many miles of streets that we have that you plow?
I believe we got like 15 miles. There's 15 miles from 13 all the way to 31, I think.
Okay.
They also do a super job of the community center and the town hall if it's safe for everybody to get in and out.
Yeah.
So
We've
we
been busy.
appreciate
Thank you.
Well, big thank you, certainly Greg and Austin, historically, tremendous. This isn't just like a one-timer thank you, it's, historically, we have the best kept streets, when it snows, anywhere. There's no comparison.
I agree.
So thank you guys. Motion to adjourn,
I second.
all in favor?
Aye. Thank you, Rick.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah,
Okay.
thanks, Rick, thanks, everybody.
Okay, bye-bye.